Growing up, fear was an unknown phenomenon to me. I lived every day without the fear of not knowing what tomorrow held. However, as I started to move into the world, fear started visiting me like a long-lost friend. Fear gripped every decision that I ever had to take. And this is when I came to the realization that the word fear had a significant way of controlling our emotions and decisions we take. Today, I decided to take a trip out of the city into a remote place, a rather forgotten world. Upon my arrival, I stumbled upon blissful peace and quiet in a town filled with incredible people. They welcomed me with their open arms, with no fear of malice from someone who is unknown to them. As I chanced upon these madhouses, I was set aback, thinking of what it feels like to live here. What are the untold dreams and aspirations that have been shelved? Do these people over here wish they would move from these madhouses into places that society deems prestigious? I have always harbored the fear of landing in a place like this. A place which to an outsider seems like a place where dreams go to die. However, these lovely people have been able to show us that there is happiness in what we fear so much. With that said, let's find out about Stonebwoy's concept of overcoming fear, and when we return, we shall go for the alternative truth from our best friend, who always tells me that if anyone should speak, they should do so as one who speaks the very words of God. This is my best friend and I.
Has fear always gotten you to sit upright and say, you know, man, I got to muzzle up?
Mm-hmm.
And what's your understanding of fear?
Mm-hmm.
And how do you conquer it? I'm asking so many things, but in a nutshell, fear and Stonebwoy on the balance beam.
I do not allow fear to conquer me, but I do allow fear to encourage me, because it is something you can use. Because you know, there's a fear of this. Okay, there's a fear of losing all you've built if you become complacent right now and begin to lay back and don't work as hard as you should work. Then there's a fear of losing. So coming to a realization of that fear is when you stand up and you know that I have to keep kicking. So then without the fear in there, how would you have realized that you could lose? So I use the fear to my advantage.
Wow.
I do not allow fear to, use me to its advantage.
I do not allow fear to use me to its advantage. I rather use fear for my advantage. Deep. Did you just make that up?
No, I just said it.
Or did it just come out from your spirit? It's because there's something that you've been doing.
I said it. I never really read anything that.
But that's a powerful. But it's powerful, man.
Yeah. So it's good. Fear is actually a factor.
Yeah.
Or
success
element that you can use. It guides you. Because if you do not have fear for God, how would you respect Him?
Wow.
Knowing that He is all powerful is just an example. So fear is there. We have to know how to use it.
For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. 2 Timothy chapter 1, the 7th verse. The fear of man will prove to be a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is kept safe. Proverbs 29, the 25th verse. In the fear of the Lord, there is strong confidence, and His children will have refuge. The fear of the Lord is a fountain of life. Proverbs 14, the 26th to the 27th verse. Only fear the Lord and serve Him with all your heart.
For consider what great things he has done for you. 1 Samuel chapter 12, the 24th verse.
Welcome back. That was my man, Stonebwoy, hitting it hard on the nail, and alternative truths from my best friend. I will encourage everyone watching to search for the truth on how to conquer fear and master it. Next, my dear friends, Stonebwoy talks about dealing with anxiety, depression, and facing the biggest test of giving up everything. Gosh, I have walked this road a million times. Let's see how it goes.
Where have you gotten at a point where, like, anxiety steps in, depression sets in? And have you ever, as Stonebwoy, gotten to a point where you feel like, yo, man, Charlie, I won't give it up. I won't die, or you know, oh, you laugh. That means it's just like, have you ever, like, you soldier, you know what I mean, like a true soldier.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Have you ever gotten to that particular point, that stage where you're like, man, to hell with all of this?
Yeah, man, it does. Okay.
Are you for real?
That's okay, you know. It does okay. Trust me. It does okay when at point in time you just want to be like, you just ask questions. You just
have you gotten to that point?
That's what I'm saying. That it does okay. It does okay to me. So.
Oh, okay. I wanted to hear that. Is that okay to me? I thought you just saying in general, like, that is that okay?
Because you're asking me a question. It does really okay. From time to time, sometimes you're all by yourself. You just want to be like, you know, I ask, why all of these? Because at the end of the day, you realize that, well, sometimes you feel like everything is not worth anything. Sometimes you just be like, everything is not worth anything at the end of the day. So at that point in time, or those, when I come up, you know, I be like, I want to vanish. Yeah, I just want to vanish. And probably that could mean that I just want to not exist anymore. That could mean that also. But then anytime I get to that point, you know what I see in my mind? I see a vast land. I see I see me in a far land. I'm just there by myself. That's what I see in my mind. Anytime I get to that point where I feel like, sorry to say, to hell with everything, what comes to mind, like I see it so clearly, is me, and I just go far away, calm, just to, when you wake up in the morning, you only see a vast plain land of greens.
But that is good stuff.
Yeah, but that's where you see nobody.
Yeah.
So certain times I don't want to see nobody. I just hide in. I just stay indoors. Most often I just lock myself in the studio, not like with bad energy, but so to feel that, so to just get into that space.
Welcome back, my beautiful people. Let's go find alternative truths from our best friend on how to deal with depression, anxiety, loneliness, and the fear of giving up everything. And when we return, more right here on My Best Friend and I.
Fear and trembling gripped me, and horror has overwhelmed me. I said, only that I had wings like a dove, I would fly away and find rest. How far away I would flee, in the wilderness I will remain. Psalm 55, the 5th to the 7th verse. When anxiety was great within me, your consolation brought me joy. Psalm 94, the 19th verse. Be anxious for nothing, but in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your request be made known unto God. Philippians chapter 4, the 6th verse. Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed. Luke chapter 5, the 16th verse. After he had sent the crowds away, he went up on the mountain by himself to pray. And when it was evening, he was there alone. Matthew 14, the 23rd verse.
Welcome back to Written in the Stars, My Best Friend and I, and that was Alternative Truths from My Best Friend.
The kids in this part of town are united in love, and they won't stop following me around. One significant thing that I see is their desire to be happy and not bother anyone. How many grown folks out there in the world today are filled with this kind of joy these kids possess? This is definitely the question that boggles my mind. Millions all over the world, they engage with God on a daily basis with the intention of seeking answers. I asked Stonebwoy how often he asks God questions. Let's go find out, and once we return, we tackle the alternative truths from our best friend.
How often do you ask God questions? Like, yo, how often do you disturb him? How often are you before his throne room of grace and you ask a lot of questions? Like, how often?
I hardly ask God questions. You just reminded me of the fact that I need to ask God questions.
I just reminded you.
Now, you're just saying that for the first time in a while that you need to ask God questions.
Are you for real?
Why do I have to ask God questions? All I know is that one thing I always know and
But you just
always say is let his will be done, because he knows it all. He does it all.
Another one.
That's what there is.
Another one.
No, never. I don't come.
So, but you said I've reminded you to ask him.
Just reminding me that
what would you ask him at this very moment? I mean, like, yeah, everybody's watching. Pretend you're not God. Let's just don't.
I would not ask him anything. I only ask his will to be done.
Thank you.
Simple. Because that's just what it is. And whatever I asked from within that I want, I hope that is the same thing that he wants for me. And because he knows my needs, even when I do not know them. He's answered my prayers even when I have not prayed. So every day, every minute, every time, let his will be done. Because his plans for me are not of evil, but they are of good, that will lead me to an expected end. You see me?
And whatever you ask in prayer, you will receive if you have faith. Matthew chapter 21, the 22nd verse. But my friend, I ask, who do you think you are to question God? Does the clay have the right to ask the potter why he shaped it the way he did? Romans chapter 9, the 20th verse. Then after 3 days, they found Jesus in the temple, sitting in the midst of the teachers, both listening to them and asking them questions. Luke chapter 2, the 46th verse. And this is the confidence that we have toward him, that if we ask anything according to his will, he hears us. And if we know that he hears us in whatever we ask, we know that we have the request that we have asked of him. 1 John chapter 5, the 14th to the 15th verse. And whatever you ask in my name, this I will do, that my Father may be glorified in the Son. If you ask me anything in my name, I will do it. John chapter 14, the 13th to the 14th verse.
There you have it. Alternative truths from our best friend. You know what? Anybody can look at a pretty girl and see a pretty girl. An artist can look at a pretty girl and see the old woman she will become. A better artist can look at an old woman and see the pretty girl that she used to be. Great people stand out from others by their visions. Every leader has a vision. The vision is the destination. A vision tells your employees or co-workers why they are working for your organization. Creating a vision may be simple and exciting, but getting everyone on the same page with that vision can be challenging. With that said, let's find out how strong Stonebwoy's vision is and how he's able to get the right people on board.
You talk about alignment, like There's some people that you who will probably be with you, but they are not aligned with you. Now, for a soldier like you, who's really awake, you know, how do you see from afar who is like a chaff in your life?
It's the energy. So see, that is what then how you see from afar who is okay. I can break it down to be who is here to impact into your life positively, or who is here to add a positive energy, right, to your life or not. Once you talk about energies, then you're talking about something that we can't touch and we can't see, but we can feel. So you have to then be one that is open, one that has an open spirit. You know what I mean? And a sensitive one, of course, you know, to connect. You know what I mean? But you can't judge from you can't, even that you can't really judge. Sometimes.
But it's the feeling, yeah.
The feeling. Sometimes one thing that I had never lied to me is my instincts. Because once it clicks and it tells me something about somebody, it only takes time for that to manifest.
It takes time, like a longer time.
It only takes time, as in I can't specify the time frame.
But it will.
I mean, it takes time for you to understand or to really come to a realization of it via the physical manifestation, what that instinct was all about. If it was a good feeling that, or if it was a good feeling that you had about that particular person, or a bad feeling that you had. I mean, like you're saying, how do you sense people around when they do come around? You know, sometimes even by their demeanors, you can also get a physical reading, depending on how you also have your principles laid.
Here we are again. I'm loving every bit of it being here. With that said, let's go find out alternative truths from my best friend who always tells me that if anyone should speak, they should do so as one who speaks the very words of God.
Those who are spiritual can evaluate all things, but they themselves cannot be evaluated by others. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, the 15th verse. The prudent man foresees evil and hides himself, but the simple keep on going and suffer the consequences. Proverbs 23, the 3rd verse.
That was alternative truths from my best friend. Thinking out loud and in my journey of life to this point, I found out that a true leader has the confidence to stand alone, the courage to make tough decisions, and the compassion to listen to the needs of others. He or she does not set out to be a leader, but becomes one by the equality of his or her actions and the integrity of his or her intent. Let's find out how Stonebwoy manages his circle, and when we come back, alternative truths from my best friend. This is my best friend and I.
How willing are you to go to just chop off people?
To cut them off?
Yeah. It's important for the brand Stonebwoy, and how far are you willing to go? Yeah.
Specifically, I do have a very, 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 very small circle.
Thank you.
I've grown with for a very long time, for years now. So it doesn't get too difficult to disassociate with people that are not needed.
I think wait. A lot of people are going through so much in life. Like I would like, you know, but this is the punchline of the season.
Yeah.
It is not difficult to disassociate from people who are not needed. But
I always get a small circle, you know. You know what I mean, so I don't really open up too much, because when you open up too much, then you have to be ready to get too much intake as well all sorts of energies that you would have to now sit back, take time, spend time, energy, and ability, mental ability, and capacity to clean out. Sometimes it gets too late. Sometimes, but in it all, you still learn. See, that's one beautiful thing about life.
Wow.
In all of it, you still learn.
A man of too many friends comes to ruin. But there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. Proverbs 18, the 24th verse. Do not be deceived. Bad company corrupts good character. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, the 33rd verse. Walk with the wise and become wise. Associate with fools and get in trouble. Proverbs 13, the 20th verse. No one has greater love than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. John chapter 15, the 13th verse.
You've heard it all from my best friend, Charlie. Everywhere I go, from morning, afternoon, and evening, I'm always asked this question. Why written in the stars? Why do you ask these superstars these mind-boggling questions? These deep questions? All I tell them is, hey, with me, God leads. So whatever God says I should do, yeah, that's what I do. I'm glad they love in written in the stars. Stonebwoy said something about written in the stars. Let's go check it out, and when we come back, alternative truths from my best friend.
What's so special about this show?
It delves deeper into not personal life. It delves deeper into life itself, and the way I see it, and probably any other person you interview. If it's only musicians that you interview, from the musician point of view or from a creative person point of view. So that's what I like about it. And it's different. It's quite different from the regular questions that you would have to answer.
Now, thank you very much for that.
The Spirit gives life. The flesh profits nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. John chapter 6, the 63rd verse. The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because the Lord has anointed me to preach good tidings to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord, and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all who mourn, to console those who mourn in Zion, to give them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they may be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he may be glorified. Isaiah 61, the 1st to the 3rd verse.
Well, that was Stonebwoy and my best friend giving us alternative truths about what written in the stars really is about. Folks, I just want to say one thing. In South Africa, they say Ojiga left, Ojiga right. Always make sure you take a short left or a short right. There are many places you can visit to clear your mind, and there are many beautiful people out there in the world to meet, explore, and of course, be beautiful. This has been Written in the Stars, my best friend and I. And also remember, my best friend is the unseen guest at every meal, the silent listener to every conversation. Till next time, have a good one.
Stonebwoy and Indo and two Rasta sing, stepping and dancing. I want to see a baby come for me and see, stepping and dancing. Yeah, different shape and color Rasta, stepping and dancing. And then Batman step up and Batman pull up, stepping and dancing. Once again I could have seen the street of me.
Real shots, Benyon boy, bad boy, mama and you for know me the truth ever.
forever. Churrasco Razava. Oh, okay, can't call, huh? Gone. I sold them to say. Washed out them to pray, them to pray. Man, I'm on to the next 10. Never on a long 10. My goons gotta love me with the buck for the money, man. My team like money, man. We jamming in heaven, man. It smell us. Your heat's can't melt us. We build this. Believe us. Fear us. We stunning and we shining, man. I want to see. I be a big company. Stepping and dancing. Yeah. Different shape and color of skin. Stepping and dancing.